Let's make some delicious tuna noodle pasta. Now today we're using the bow ties. Typically when I make tuna noodle pasta, I use the small circle rings. But bow tie pasta is what I have on hand right now, and I do enjoy the bow tie pasta. But here's the back of the box in case y'all want to follow those directions. But for me, I just dump it all in one pot and then fill it up enough so the pasta is completely covered in water. Then we're going to place it on the stove to boil. Now, some people wait until the water's boiling before putting in their pasta. I personally don't do that because I don't notice a difference and it's just a lot faster. But typically your pasta will sit on the stovetop and cook for 15 minutes, and then after 15 minutes it should be fully cooked. And the reason why I say should be instead of it is just because I don't trust the timer. You always should be pulling out a piece of pasta and tasting it, making sure it is fully cooked before draining it out in your strainer. But while it is cooking on your stovetop, you want to make sure you're mixing the noodles every 2 minutes. And then also what you're going to want to do is add some salt to your pot. This is the salt I'm using, but honestly, any salt you have will do. Then you just cook and stir until it is completely done. Like I said, it should take roughly 15 minutes until they are fully cooked. But while that is cooking, we're going to cut up our onion. You will need 1 onion for this recipe, and I'm choosing to use a yellow onion. And you just want to cut it up, slice it up into small pieces. And while I'm cutting up this onion, I also would like to add, typically tuna noodle pasta does have celery in it. My family's just not a big into celery, so that's why I'm not adding it in today. But celery is nice to add in because it adds a nice crunch to your pasta salad, also adds a nice color to it. Because as you'll see at the end of my video, it does look a little plain Jane without some celery in there. But it is super delicious with or without celery. Like I said, celery doesn't really add much flavor, it just adds a nice crunch. But anyways, like I said, we're just cutting our onion into small pieces, and you can skip through this part if you want, but that's just what we'll be doing for just a few more seconds, then we'll move on. Alright, so at this point your noodles will be fully done, so we're going to pour it out and then drain them. And then once you have your noodles fully drained from the water they were cooking on, you're going to run it under some cool water. Now, you don't have to, I just personally recommend doing this. That way, if you want a quick bite after you have it all mixed together, you can eat it right away. But even after running cool water on it and mixing everything together, I do recommend letting it sit in the fridge for at least an hour after making it. But that's just personal preference. Now let's get into mixing everything together. So we have our pasta here. Now we're adding in mayonnaise. We're going to start off and use a cup of mayonnaise and mix it all together till the noodles are fully coated. And mayonnaise is a big thing for tuna noodle pasta, so it is something we'll add as we go to make sure it has a good amount, because while it sits in the fridge, the pasta will soak up the mayonnaise. But we're just going to mix, and then we'll add in our onion. So then we're gonna add in our onion, and then once it's all the way in there, mix, 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 and then we'll move on to our tuna. Alright, so we have our cans of tuna here. We are going to open all of them. I only opened 3 to start with because I wasn't sure if I needed all 4, but I did end up using all 4 cans because I just personally felt like after I had all 3 cans in there, it just wasn't enough, and 4 cans was the perfect amount. And then I don't show me draining them, but do drain out the water in these cans before putting it in your bowl. Like you'll see here, the water is completely drained out, but now we're gonna add it to our bowl and then mix, mix, mix. And then now that we have that mixed together, we're gonna add our salt and pepper. This will be the last step. And I recommend at least 2 tablespoons. But if you watched my previous videos, you know when it comes to seasoning, I don't measure it. I kind of just eyeball it, but add in a good heaping amount of salt and pepper. Feel it out, as I like to say. Or simply play it safe and just try it. Easiest way to know if you put enough in or not. And then this is the point where we are adding more mayonnaise. I added about half a cup Then I spread it around, mix, 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 and then I will be putting it into some containers and storing it in the fridge. Now my son was watching me make this and he couldn't help but want some, so I did scoop some out in a bowl for him because like I said, you can't eat it right away if you want, but I'm someone who likes to wait at least an hour of it chilling in the fridge before eating some because I just like it when it's colder. But that is how you make tuna noodle salad. And I would like to add, once again, you can add celery to this, most people do, to add a pop of color and a nice crunch, but it's just not big in my family. But thank you so much for watching, and if you want to support my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button,